our elected officials who sent their regrets, but are certainly here with us in spirit. I wanted to have a brief meeting. We're going to try to be a good steward of your time, get started and wrapped up in just under an hour, or at least in an hour, but have an opportunity to have a quick situation report, get updates from the city on some of the things that we've been working on, articulate commitment that as we meet next week, we'll be taking up some of the additional recommendations of the task force as well. But really wanted to actually just kind of do a check, a wellness check with a number of the businesses on the task force, kind of see what's happening in your businesses and what, if anything else, you might need to help you as we continue on this journey together. We are at a momentous time. Obviously, this week we crossed the threshold of 100,000 deaths in the United States, which is sobering. Yesterday in South Carolina alone, we saw a record number of deaths reported by DHEC. So we're still very much in the midst of this and trying to obviously do what we can responsibly to encourage good, strong public health policy while at the very same time maintaining some type of a pace in economic recovery is a difficult balancing act, something that we can only do together without the noise of politics that oftentimes invades the discussion. We recognize in Colombia that there's no red way or blue way to attack this. It's red, white, and blue. We got to do it together. So with that, I'll welcome to this meeting. I'm going to call on Chief Tinsley for a situation report.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I'll be brief. As the mayor stated, as of this morning, we're over 1.7 million confirmed cases in the U.S. with over 100,000 total deaths. Those are not just numbers; those are lives and families. Here in our state, as of yesterday, we're at 10,623 confirmed cases. That's all 46 counties reporting. Since our last meeting, Zoom meeting, we've had additional 75 deaths here in South Carolina, which brings the total for our state to 466. As of yesterday, there were 207 new cases, positive cases added. Additional updates will report this afternoon. Of those, 6,000 of those cases have recovered. That's as of reporting as of yesterday. So 4,000 of those are still active. The one positive note is, as of yesterday, there have been over 180,000 tests conducted in our state, and DHEC surpassed its 110,000 goal already, which they had set for the month of May. There are more than 85 mobile testing clinics scheduled, and over 145 permanent testing sites across the state. Here in Richland County, we've added 17 new cases as of yesterday, with 1,405 total confirmed cases, and we've added, unfortunately, again, 5 additional deaths since our last meeting, which brings our county total to 66 as of yesterday. The highest zip codes with activity in our area remain to be 29203, 29210, 29223, and 29229 continue. Hospitals, as far as hospital capacity statewide, the bed utilization rate runs at about 68%. There are currently 398 patients hospitalized with COVID-19. In the Midlands, our bed utilization rate is around 70%. That's down slightly. But statewide, overall, COVID-19 testing is ramping up, and overall, our hospital capacity remains good. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Thank you,
Harry. And obviously, one very important point you did raise, we've been in very close contact with so many of our partners, from DHEC, Prisma, to private sector entities like Walmart and Kroger Health and others. And we're seeing some really great coordination on testing all across the city, and that coordination has lent itself to some promising results. So we hope to see that continue. That might be something we need to focus on at our next meeting in a bit more detail. All right, thank you so much. Jump into some updates from city staff. Missy Gentry.
Yeah, so good morning. I'm going to talk briefly about 4 of the initiatives the city has going on. The first being our street decal initiative, and hopefully some of you have seen street decals going on the sidewalks. These are images of the decals that are going down, and primarily we're putting these adjacent to restaurants right now. In 5 Points, Main Street, Vista, Rosewood, Divine, and North Main. We've been slow getting them down because the rain. You have to have a dry sidewalk to place them, but you will see these going in all of our areas. So if a business is interested in getting some of these in their right-of-way areas, please give us a call. But either our Economic Development Office or our OBO office. If you're in a hospitality district area, we would ask that you go through your hospitality district association, whether you're a member or not. They should respond to you. So they're also assisting us putting the decals down. So I'll move on, Taylor, to the next item, which is the Resilient Columbia Pledge. We are launching probably late today an online pledge for all businesses in the area, that if you will sign up to take this pledge and state that you're taking safety measures, COVID-19 safety measures, you will receive this poster and a cling to go on your window front, as well as there's a website that will be live that businesses and patrons can go to see which businesses are following safety protocols that will give both the staff and the patrons comfort that the businesses are doing everything they can to be safe for a reopening schedule. So you will see more information coming out on that today. We're excited about this pledge, and we'll encourage all of our businesses to join in and help us populate the map and show that Columbia is ready to do the right thing. So I will move on, Taylor, to I think my next item is our Columbia COVID CARES Act survey. We will have a community survey published and ready for all of our community members, individuals, businesses, nonprofits, to take a survey that will help us guide how we spend the CARES Act that has been directly allocated to the city of Columbia. It's $611,000, and that survey will be live on June 1st. It'll be active from June 1st to June 5th. So we would encourage everyone to go online and take the survey and help us get the data needed to program those funds. And then the last thing I want to talk about will be our parking plan. You've seen hopefully in the news and heard the city talk about returning to parking enforcement. The last 2 weeks we've been doing warnings on our street meters. Starting Monday, we will begin issuing citations again. And this is really intended to make sure that our street meters are open for the patrons of the businesses to park in. So our gates will go down in our garages as well. So if you have a pass in a garage, we encourage you to make sure you have your access pass with you. There are visitor parking spaces in our garages as well, but you will see us pushing a lot of information out into the public over the weekend, just as a reminder, because we really don't want to catch anyone off guard. This has been a process by which we wanted to let people adapt back to it, but we will start enforcing meters again on Monday. And that's it for me, Mayor.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Missy. Alicia Utsi? Alicia?
Mayor, you may want to come back, Alicia. I missed your call a while ago. I apologize. She and I were dealing with something that came up this morning.
All right, super. All right, we'll go ahead and go to Melissa then. Melissa, Office of Business Opportunities.
Hi, good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Hey, buddy.
We did send a slide. We've been working over the past 2 weeks just to make sure that we're making contact with our industry leaders, making sure they're a part of the workshops or webinars that we're going to be doing citywide for different industries. So what you have before you is just a list of our tentative dates. Right now that we scheduled some of those industry specific trainings. DHEC will be a part of these trainings. We also have invited OSHA. We're waiting on a response for them. But again, all of these trainings will be done in partnership with SBA, SBDC, Richland County, USC, and our HBCUs as well. We want everyone to feel like they're part of this effort and that we're moving together in a unified way to address some of the COVID-related issues that we have. In addition to this, I do want to say that our EDA grant will be submitted probably on Monday once everyone finalizes it. And I think this is going to be a great opportunity for our small businesses to utilize these funds in addition to the funds that they may have received from PPP to cover some of those areas that were not covered under PPP to be forgiven. So,
Melissa,
yes,
would
sir.
you remind everyone about the EDA grant opportunity?
Sure. The EDA grant is a non-competitive grant. The City of Columbia was one of a few that were actually selected to submit this grant. So it's a non-competitive grant up to $2.6 million to be lent out to our small business community, to help our small business community to address some of the things that COVID has caused in regards to purchasing PPE equipment, making sure your employees are tested. Just some things that you can put in place to provide a safe, sanitary work environment for your employees as well as for your customers. So it can be used for other things as well, operating expenses, lease expenses, employee wages, whatever you need for it to cover, it can be used for that within the parameters of EDA. On top of the $2.6 million that we'll receive for direct commercial revolving loan fund, for our commercial revolving loan fund, CRLF, we also will receive 10%, a little over $260,000 for administrative costs to help us provide additional support to our small business community, either through more marketing, campaigning, assistance, trainings that you may need to be competitive, not only to compete or obtain funds from us through different loan programs that we have, but also through loans from traditional lenders and non-traditional lenders to help you address some of the issues that we're all facing as we reopen and try to get back to the new normal for the city. Thank you, sir.
All right. And an update that I will be tomorrow testifying before the COVID Oversight, the Select Committee, the Truman Style Committee that Congressman Clyburn is chairing for the House of Representatives, along with Ranking Member Scalise from Louisiana. They'll be tomorrow at noon. Obviously, we'll have an opportunity to tell the story of Columbia city government, obviously our businesses, and ways in which we've responded and ways in which we hope that the federal government will respond to continue to meet your needs. That's tomorrow at 12 noon, Friday the 29th. We're not ready yet for Alicia. Alicia's on? Okay, Alicia, let's go back to your presentation.
Okay, I'm here, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Just want to give everyone an update on the Resilient Columbia microsite. Our microsite actually launched last week, and we've been placing a lot of vital information and business resource info on that site. So we encourage everyone to please visit resilient.columbia.gov. Also, we have added another feature that we will be launching later this week or perhaps early next week. We actually have added through assistance from our IT staff and GIS, geomapping for businesses that plan to take the Resilient Columbia Pledge. And that will assist our citizens with finding and locating businesses that have taken the pledge and have made the commitment to provide a safe and clean and sanitized environment for not only their employees, but also for their customers. We have been working through the Office of Business Opportunities and Economic Development to encourage businesses to actually take the pledge. And also, once they take the pledge, their business location and name will show up on the actual map. And once we actually have a sufficient number of businesses to launch the new feature, we'll share that with the general public and with our local media. And we encourage all businesses, not only restaurants and entertainment venues, but also any business. The Columbia will be leading the effort with that as well. And we'll be actually adding our locations to show that we're providing a clean and safe environment for citizens and for customers. So we encourage everyone to please sign up, and we will actually be launching that campaign on a widespread basis. But again, it's not only for restaurants and entertainment venues, but any business locally that would like to take the Resilient Columbia Pledge and actually show up on our GeoMap on our new microsite.
Super. Thank you. Thank you so much, Alicia. If you have not had an opportunity to take a peek at the at the microsite yet, I encourage you to do so and to share it with your members and share it of your associations or your colleagues in your industry, and share it broadly. It is very well done, very well done. We all move at a rapid pace to try and be as responsive as possible. There's a lot going on. Being able to shift some of those resources into one site, coming from so many different places. Again, Leisha and the team are very, very well done and comprehensively. I wanted to honestly get together this week just to give a very brief and concise update from our staff and team that they're already acting on a number of the recommendations made by our small groups just over a week ago. Moving forward, we've been interrupted by some things like rain, but we'll get past that. Our team has been advising Council Teresa and her staff on policy moves and thinking very deliberately about how we reopen city services and what we do and how we do it. And I wanted to continue to underscore the sense of urgency that we're dealing with here, that we're seeing some major challenges still, that while we're all citizens and engaged citizens, that remind everyone that COVID-19 also has a vote, and sometimes it has veto power over things that we do. And it's going to require us to continue to be nimble and be responsive to these trends, following good science and public health data, not influenced by politics, to always have a thoughtful and compassionate approach as we go forward. I'm not going to go through all the small group recommendations, working with staff right now, so that some of those that are quickly actionable, we will take some of those up in discussion at City Council meeting on Tuesday. But I did want to have the vast majority of the time, and really want to thank staff for moving quickly through the recommendations, to be able to have a dialogue with those of you on this call. I text some of you regularly, text to you, my friends in the hospitality industry just this morning, to get a sense as to what things look like on the street, what they look like on the real world, what they're looking like for your business. Are there some things that we could be doing or might need to be doing, even things that might not be in our wheelhouse, but we might be able to influence to make things better for you? Again, we're seeing a lot of movement. We're seeing a lot of activity. I've been encouraged by what I've seen, but we are we're not out of the woods anywhere close to it. So obviously we will have some other policy decisions we have to consider that directly affect a number of your businesses. The curfew will expire on June 9th. So we will have to have a discussion and debate about how we continue to use that as a tool to strategically social distancing, and if whether we will or not. So and make sure you got your phones mute before you say something you don't want everyone else to hear, whoever's talking back there. But there's a lot going on, and I wanted while I talk to many of you and we email and text, and I know my colleagues on council are very engaged in conversations with so many of you, particularly in their districts, and as it relates to Ms. Devine and Mr. Duval citywide. Wanted to hear more from you. And Teresa, if at some point you want to also chime in, if there's something else that needs to be top of mind that I haven't thought of raising, please feel free to do so. We can use the feature of raising hands if that works. Sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. But I'd love to hear kind of what's going on in your industry. Raj, I know we traded some texts earlier today. You mind kind of giving an update, just generally what you see happening in the hotel industry? Would that be all right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good morning. I hope everybody's doing well. We continue to struggle. At the month of April, as you all know, our occupancies were under double digits, and we saw some growth in May. It looks for us we'll probably end up maybe close to 3%. However, we are seeing a lot of rates that have declined. And if we compare to last year, we're still off by close to 90% in terms of revenue. Obviously, university is closed. There's not a lot of corporate travel going on. In downtown, we definitely depend on a lot of that stuff. In terms of guest safety, we are on top of it. The brands have introduced various protocols, and I think most of the hotels that you would walk in, they're clean, sanitized, and ready to go. We're waiting for people to start visiting Colombia and visiting us again.
Awesome. Thank you, Raj. I'm sure anyone else in that space might also want to have some input. I'm getting a lot of feedback, and it'd be helpful to hear some. I know, I think Carl at Chamber of Commerce, Carl Blackstone, CEO, is on the call. Differing positions on the curfew, but hearing from a number of businesses, particularly those affected in those later hours of the evening. Just maybe some of the feedback you've been getting. Carl, you want to chime in?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are many. I talked to a bunch of restaurants and hospitality folks in the last couple of weeks, and you got a mixed bag. Some the curfew doesn't bother at all. Some the concern or issue has been the restaurant workers themselves, that once they get off work, they don't have a place to get something to eat because of the timing. We've got some restaurants that want to cater towards a later night crowd, and they can't. They're starting to shut down their kitchens at 9:30. So you're hearing all three different sides. Some that are not impacted, some yes they are, and some are looking out for their employees that won't. They have to go home and fix something at 11 o'clock at night. They can't go out and get something. So I think we need to start looking at that as being an obstacle because of course you go across the river, it doesn't exist. You go to Forest Acres, it doesn't exist. You go out in the county, it doesn't exist. So I think it's starting to set an unfair business practice for them right now. So I understand the safety issue and understand the need to show restraint, but at the same time, we want to be fair to those businesses as well.
That's very helpful, Carl. Thank you. Matt, I know you think you wanted to share something as well, Matt Kennel, and then Christian. I think I saw your hand, Christian.
Yes, Mayor, thank you very much. We are happy to announce that late next week, hopefully starting on June 4th, we're going to install 4 large letters that will spell out HOPE, H-O-P-E, on First Citizens Green. We have been working with 2 artist set designers, Brandon McIver and Danny Harrington from Trustus. These are the same gentlemen that did the large basketball for the NCAA tournament. With Lee Snellgrove's help, we have incorporated the new city flag logo in that. So we're very excited about it. We hope it will inspire people. The letters will be about 8 feet tall. And First Citizens has been very agreeable to putting it out there in the green space. So it's just something we wanted to do for Columbia.
Well, I've seen the renderings. They look fantastic. But I did not realize they were 8 feet tall. Oh
yeah,
goodness.
They're big. They're big letters.
That's gonna be impressive. At the other end of Main Street, some of you may have seen flowers start moving this week. We've also planted an acre of sunflowers and zinnias, Main and Elmwood, that I think will also provide a nice, hopeful gateway at the times we need it most into downtown. So thank you, Matt. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Christian.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey,
so we had originally planned on a June 1st opening, and we have now pushed it back to June 15th. We don't feel comfortable yet exposing our staff to customers, especially shortly after the Memorial Day weekend, and seeing photos around the Midlands and around the state of people just being. So we just knew that there would probably be some sort of small spike in infection rates after that weekend. So bringing our staff back on at this time just didn't really feel to be the most responsible thing. Also, just firing up a restaurant for 50% capacity doesn't really make a lot of financial sense. With that being said, I will say, not to blow sunshine up everybody's butt here, but what City of Columbia is doing, as opposed to most other cities that I've been in touch with my chef friends, is you guys are doing above and beyond what most other cities are doing. So thank you to everybody that's been working so hard on this. From the restaurant side, I think what some of the Main Street restaurants are going to be looking for and asking for, if they haven't already, is, as I said in probably one of the first task force meetings that we had, a variance on outdoor seating, being able to add more tables outside in front if our neighbors and landlords are okay with it. It would be nice to know that that we're getting the okay from the city on that. As I said in the first one, First Citizens being our landlord and also our main bank, they're fine with us putting tables down in front of their space without any problem. So that'll help mitigate some of the financial ramifications of being able to only open up to 50% capacity, weather permitting. Of course, we had the most beautiful spring ever, and then as we got close to opening up, we got this nonstop rain. The other thing I think a lot of the restaurants would like to see would be on every evening 2 to 3 meters bagged specifically for takeout only. Takeout has become the new reality in our economic model, and to have a space right in front of our restaurants where our staff could safely bring takeout to customers without having the customer having to find somewhere to park and then walk into the restaurant, thus allowing exposure. All the surveys that have been done recently show that customers who are still skittish about it are relying on touchless takeout and having them have to walk into the restaurant to get their takeout, I just think is not setting a very good example. So 2 to 3 spots in front of Main Street restaurants, I'm speaking for us on Main Street particularly, but would be incredibly helpful if we could have that happen. So like I said, we're looking to open on June 15th. And in the meantime, we're spending pretty much every waking minute working on personal protection protocols for not only ourselves, but our customers, and trying to figure out seating schedules, seating layouts, weather plans, things like that. So that's kind of where we stand right now.
That's all very helpful, and always appreciate the constructive criticism and ideas, Christian. I'm not sure who's in charge of the Zoom bleep button, but let's make sure we figure that out.
I don't think did I swear it all this time?
This once.
I don't know. Just once?
This one.
Woohoo!
This one.
Wow, I did good.
Yeah, absolutely. All good stuff there. I know that we've been making some moves on parking already, and I think also, Missy, the issues regarding variances, and we moved at staff level. Can we get a quick update on both of those so that all the particularly hospitality association executive directors can make sure we get that good information back out to everyone who needs it?
Absolutely. We prior to COVID-19, we had changed the outdoor dining permit to a staff level review. So that is available online. If you already have an outdoor dining permit, we ask that you submit a new sketch showing what your expanded area would look like. And if you're going adjacent to your adjoining business owners, just make sure that we know that they're good with it. If they would just write a little statement that they're comfortable with the tables going outside their business process. And I will send or Ryan may actually send out the link to that online application. It's on the city's website, but we'll definitely make sure we get it to all the business districts and make it accessible or easily accessible on our website. As far as the parking goes, we will continue to have bag meters through the month of June. So the areas that have bag meters will remain in place. So for takeout, for our restaurants, takeout and curbside, we have looked at, we've added meters or added bags when asked. We've got to also be conscious of making sure that there's spaces available for other types of businesses. If you know of a specific area that we need to look at again, we will certainly do that. Having 2 or 3 at every single storefront may not be possible, but we are absolutely going to do everything we can to help support the reopenings and keeping the patrons where they can, easily get to spaces and get to our businesses. So the office number is 545-4015. If you do want to call them, they're answering phones during business hours. And we can also send you some information of how to communicate with them online. We'll send that out through Ryan's message as well. I'm volunteering you, Ryan, through the business district. So we'll be glad to work with all the businesses.
Awesome. It's very, very helpful. Very helpful. We want to do as much as we possibly can. Those businesses that are choosing to reopen and certainly reopen responsibly with the Resilient Columbia Pledge. We want to make sure we remove all barriers for them being successful. So my guess is it's going to take a great deal of creativity. Maybe sometimes if you don't have a neighbor as amenable as Christians, then maybe sometimes we also might be able to chime in with some persuasion to help folks understand how important this is. I think we got to think creatively. Mr. Vine sent me a note about sometimes we may be even able to be even much more creative in terms of having additional space for seating for folks at restaurants. So I don't see any hands up, any additional hands up physically or in the application. Does anyone else want to chime in? I see you thinking, Mr. Davis. You know what's going to call it. Take your mute off, brother. Take your mute off. You're still on mute, Sam. Still on mute. You're still on mute, Sam.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wanted to go back to a portion of one question. I guess Missy and Missy, the sidewalk and right-of-way markings, badges. Can we, or I'm sure you may have thought about it, include Farrell Road? I know it's a corridor that's not as resilient as some of the others, but people in those areas do go back and forth. There are a lot of barber shops and beauty shops and a couple of mom and pops. So I think we want to at least prepare them for what's coming. And I want that to be a prelude to the fact that we're going to be including them as we start to maybe reshape the way we do approach small businesses. And I think that also means that as we do move forward, we're going to want to include them in everything that's going to represent the new normal. Sabrina and I would kind of
we intend to include all areas. We asked the business districts for lists. So the 3 districts with staff, which is Main Street, 5 Points, the Vista, they're helping us place the decals since they have staff available to do that. The other districts, we're going to have city staff placing decals, and I know Sabrina's already given us a long list.
Right.
Columbia area, we will add some businesses along Faro as well. We really wanted to start with the restaurants that are opening. We really wanted to be open businesses right now, and as new businesses open, we can add decals because the supply of material needed for the decals is a little bit limited. We placed 2 orders so far, and we let our vendor, who, Kyle, I don't know if you're on the phone, but Image 360 has done a tremendous job working with us around. We will likely need a 3rd order, so we want to make sure we're placing them on the businesses or around the businesses that are currently open, and we will continue to place new ones as we move through what the reopenings look like.
Okay. One more point, and I'll mute out. Also with Melissa and Sabrina, we've been really trying to from a long shot do some of the basics with the Farrell Road corridor, for example. So, and I'm pleased with what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing coming out of the committees, but we want to make sure that we cause them to feel that they're going to be included in the new normal. It's a challenge, but now is the best time to really start with the basics and from the ground up as we reshape the business community, especially the corridors. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam and Missy and Sabrina for also helping lead to make sure those businesses are represented as well. Ryan, you had something to share on what's going on in your wheelhouse?
Yes, sir. So just to give a couple of quick updates, talk with Bill and Jason with Experience Columbia. So for the current hotel occupancy, the numbers that are coming in most recently for May, we're up to about 38% occupancy at a $68 daily rate. So it's gradually creeping up. I think, when we talked maybe 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were in the mid-20s. So we are seeing that gradual increase as it goes up. Over this past weekend, over Friday and Saturday, that rate was up to 45% and about $70 a day. So we're getting some positive traction there at least, although it's moving pretty slowly at this point, but still in the right direction. Looking to get some numbers out of the Columbia Airport right now, but right now nationally, it seems air travel is starting to pick back up. I think about, a month ago, early May, there was probably around 170,000 travelers per day. We've seen that number get up above the 300 and into the 350,000 range. So there is some resumption there. However, year over year, overall air travel is down 90% from where we would have been with 2019's numbers. So there's still a lot of recovery that needs to go there. From a recruitment standpoint, we're seeing activity start to pick back up with some of the calls that we've had. Business interest is starting to kind of come off the pause button. So we've had some discussions with folks that are, looking at projects across the Southeast, in the next 12 to 18 months. And there has been some positive signs as we think there will be some project visitations resuming in June as well. For the past 2 months, there's been virtually, no business recruitment type visits going on pretty much anywhere in the state of South Carolina. There was no hotels and no restaurants for people to even go to. So we are getting business people back on the ground. Again, it's a trickle of what it was, but at least it's starting to reinitiate again. And I think with our committee's conversation, what we have talked about is the need to kind of create, the unified brand of Columbia, Richland County, the region of what is clean and safe, something that everybody can kind of use as a brand or slogan and adopt, from Experience Columbia on down into the business associations and the individual businesses. So no consensus there. I know Experience Columbia has kind of led the way with some of the tourism promotions that they're doing, but we may be looking for something a little more specific and that can be used widespread as well. And then some other things, we're getting some drone footage done now that we're going to use to promote our areas. Jeff Rubel and I talked. The county has gotten some drone footage that they're getting of Midlands Tech Enterprise Campus as well as Beale Street. And I talked with Central SC this morning, and they've got some drone footage produced of the Enterprise Campus for us. We've just got to make some edits on it, but should have that deliverable here in the next few weeks. So we'll have some new virtual recruitment tools that will be, adding to our arsenal and using to promote the area as well.
Sure. Thank you, Ryan. I'll call on Bill next, but before I lose the train of thought that you brought up, I do believe, almost touching on with some of the points that Christian raised earlier, the way that we've approached this, nothing's ever perfect, but I think it's been a responsible, thoughtful, business-friendly, public health, the data consistent approach is something I think is something we need to be thinking about selling and sharing with people. Maybe if they're looking for some place to call home, that they share their events, and we got to figure out how very best to package that up and use it as a tool as we all focus on this long-term recovery. Bill, Ellen.
Maybe Jason Outman on the call.
Oh, Jason. Okay, Jason, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, thought Bill was also on the call, but he might be on mute. Yeah, we just wanted to share. Obviously, Ryan, shared the hotel, how that's continuing to go up, and as Raj did mention, the downtown is still, unfortunately, is still tracking behind a lot of the interstate hotels and extended stays. Those are the ones that are kind of really driving the market right now. The downtown market is probably about 10 points behind what the region is showing, from a hotel standpoint. However, we are seeing positive signs. I just shared in the chat box our recovery messaging that's going out for the leisure campaign, very similar to what we're also pushing out on the meetings side, essentially just promoting, the real soon messaging coming for Columbia. So we're excited about that. And we also want to thank the city, Teresa and the staff, Mayor, for giving us the opportunity to reopen the center on June 23rd to host the Regional Cornhole Championship. We're also hosting the World Championship in July, and we didn't want that to be the first event we kicked off with. We had to have a run through. So thank you for allowing us to open in June to get that event going. We're seeing a lot of increase in our website traffic, which is, people looking for hotel opportunities and packages, seeing what restaurants are opening and what options are being out there. And so we're excited with where it's trending. Obviously, as you said, Mayor, there's still a lot to do, and we've got a long way to go. A lot of communications being had nationally, but we are seeing some positive signs. So we're excited about that. And my 18-year-old son, who's going to be a Gamecock this fall, is now under Ryan Duke's wings at Blue Marlin, and he's come. When he comes home, they've actually been doing pretty well, the restaurant at Blue Marlin. So I'm excited to see the people that are sitting in place there. So just kind of a quick update on where we're headed from a tourism standpoint.
Thank you so much. A pandemic, murder hornets, cornhole, pickleball. 2020 is really interesting. So we got an interesting year for us. And Jason, you mentioned your branding experience, Columbia messaging. Is there a link in here? Something you can share that Taylor can send out broadly? I don't see a link necessarily. Or
yeah, I attached the PDF. So I'm not. I can open it on my end. I guess I'm not sure if you guys can open it or not. I did attach a PDF, but we'll make sure we get that out.
If you send it to Taylor, yeah. If you shoot it to Taylor, he'll share it broadly. I think Taylor, you also had a rendering of the hope sign that Matt mentioned earlier. It'd be great to share that with everyone. Is there anyone else who has something to contribute or something we all need to make sure we know about right now, or we need to be kind of innovating and iterating, just thinking through together?
Mayor,
ma'am.
this is Sabrina. You can
Yes,
hear
ma'am.
me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I need to share. We still have some businesses that are fearful of opening their dining rooms. And because of the COVID-19 and our district having the most numbers and everything. So I just want to thank you and the city for doing a great job. The decals and the posters and the door stickers are very important in our district. So I just want to make sure so people could not feel fearful, or the employees or business owner will not feel fearful for people coming in their dining room. We still have the Mediterranean restaurant, S&A Seafood, Chromas, all their dining rooms are still closed. So I want to make sure that we keep in mind that these signs and decals and posters that the city is doing is really important in our district, and even not just for the hospitality in the restaurants and stuff, but because our numbers are really high in there, we need to keep reminding people to do this. So the city been really great. OBO office, Ryan and all of them. I just want to thank them for everything they're doing. I just want to stress how our district is a little bit different, and they still have a little bit of fear of going into businesses. But thank you for everything you do.
Oh, well, thank you, Sabrina. Thank you so much. All right, Taylor, do you see any other hands, or is there anything else for the good of the order? Anyone else who wanted to chime in or share something or give us some constructive criticism of what we need to be doing more of, or better, or thinking about?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
anybody on the line from Lake Murray Country? I know they have started their advertising campaign, and if there's nobody on the line, I'll give you a little update on it.
Yeah, please go ahead, Howard.
Miriam Atria and the Lake Murray Country last year started a campaign called Staycation that was very successful, and they had it all ready to go this year and pulled it back for a few weeks because of the coronavirus. But they started rolling about a week ago, and it has had tremendous success in inquiries and actual bookings. And so I think that's going to be a big boon to the whole Midlands area when that campaign, which is linked to a lot of the hotels and businesses on Main Street in Columbia, comes to fruition. And we have the people coming to the Midlands that might have gone to California or Florida to get to an airplane. And I hope you are driving to DC for your meeting tomorrow.
I will actually be walking to my living room for my meeting tomorrow. It will
Even better.
It will be via WebEx, the healthiest way I can do it, Howard. Thank you so much. And I it's one of the texts I was sharing or communicating with Raj earlier. I really like the staycation idea. Obviously, not having those several pillars that some of our three pillars our downtown hotels rely on so much. It's good to see the occupancy rates going up, but certainly rate is still a huge challenge right now. So I think any creative and responsible ways that we can potentially put heads in beds, we need to take advantage of it. So I got cornered by Miriam in West Columbia last week, so she gave me a full update as we were both masked up. But if you have some of that collateral material to share broadly as well, if you send it to Taylor, he can share it with the entire group too. Okay, and let's see if that's something in addition to the work that Bill and Jason and the team are doing. We can share it broadly, and might prompt us all to get thinking a little more creatively. Well, we've done better on time than I expected. Tell you, I remain incredibly proud, as I know council and our city staff does, of the partnership that we have with all of us. We are all working our tails off, but we all also acknowledge the fact that we can continue to do better. We do believe, as Matt said, there's hope ahead. But that comes with constant and consistent work and working together. It comes with honest dialogue, a commitment to move forward, and good constructive criticism that we all need. And I remember that iron sharpens iron. So thank y'all. God bless you. We'll talk again real soon. All right. Take care.